Charlie.
This is April.
And we're back again with another reaction video to, this time, the Sportster. 10 WWE wrestlers who got knocked out cold. Now, when you're in mixed company and you say wrestling, you're likely to get one of three reactions. One, fans. We love it. Yeah! Two, I don't fucking care. Never seen it, don't give a shit about it. And three, wrestling is fake. And don't tell me that there are not people out there who believe that, because anyone who's ever seen wrestling, they know someone who has said that it's fake. However, just like with football, basketball, gymnastics, any type of sport, you gotta practice. It takes athleticism. The same with wrestling. It takes athleticism. It takes skill, and it takes practice. Some things, sometimes, go wrong. And this is 10 instances where WWE wrestlers who got knocked out. Ready?
Not just knocked out, knocked out.
Knock the fuck out.
Professional wrestling matches don't always go as planned, and sometimes the athletes end up sustaining legitimate injuries. Here are 10 wrestlers who got knocked out cold. Ricky Steamboat. Prior to the May 3, 1986 edition of Saturday Night's Main Event, Jake the Snake Roberts expressed concern about executing a DDT on Ricky the Dragon Steamboat on the concrete floor surrounding the ring. However, Vince McMahon, Booker George Scott, and Steamboat himself insisted that the match go as planned. As Roberts feared, the move knocked Ricky out cold, and Jake had to drag his lifeless body back into the ring in an attempt to continue the bout. When it was clear Steamboat wasn't getting back up, Roberts sicked his snake Damien on his defeated opponent to further humiliate him. Sister Sherry. On the January 29, 1996 episode of WCW Nitro, Sister Sherry was given an interview where she was attacked by Medusa, who leapt from the top rope of the ring. The two struggled a bit before Sherry finally pinned her opponent and the match was declared over. However, just after the bell, Medusa executed and botched a German suplex on her opponent, which clearly knocked her out. We say clearly because Medusa began slapping and violently shaking Sherry, who just laid there lifeless for the remainder of the segment, failing to sell any of the moves. Mankind. Mankind's 1998 Hell in a Cell match against The Undertaker is famous for almost killing Mick Foley numerous times. The closest call was obviously when Taker chokeslammed Foley on top of the cage and it unexpectedly gave out and sent Mankind crashing down into the ring. Either the fall itself or the metal chair that fell on top of his face knocked him out for a few seconds, and numerous WWE personnel legitimately thought Foley had been killed. Of course, with Mankind being Mankind, he somehow got up and continued the match for another 8 minutes or so before finally being pinned. Steve Austin. Stone Cold Steve Austin defeated The Undertaker at SummerSlam 1998, which is a pretty big accomplishment when you consider the fact that Austin was knocked out cold for several seconds at the beginning of the match. After bouncing off the ropes, Austin kicked Taker in the chest, and the dead man abruptly lifted his head to no sell the move. However, in doing so, the top of Taker's head impacted Austin's chin, dropped him, and rendered him unconscious for 2 or 3 seconds. Austin was apparently so dazed that referee Earl Hebner had to inform him they were at Madison Square Garden in the middle of a match. Kurt Angle. SummerSlam 2000's main event was a triple threat for the WWE Championship between The Rock, Triple H, and Kurt Angle. The Rock won, but were more concerned with an incident between Trips and Angle. Only a few minutes into the match, Triple H climbed atop the announcer's table and readied Angle for a pedigree, but the table prematurely broke and legitimately knocked Kurt out for several seconds. After coming to, Angle was kayfabe stretchered out of the arena, but was able to return as planned for the end of the match. William Regal. During a World Tag Team Championship match at 2003's No Way Out, Kane executed a brutal gorilla press slam on William Regal, which caused Regal to smack his head directly on the mat. When Kane went to lift his opponent to his feet, it was clear that Regal was totally unconscious. In a moment that was likely improvised, Kane tried to hide the injury by covering Regal for the pin, but it was broken up by Lance Storm. This jolted Regal awake, and despite being clearly dazed, he somehow managed to get to his feet and continue the match to retain the title. Chavo Guerrero Jr.
grabbed his
Billy
face.
Kidman has a knack for botching the dangerous shooting star press finisher. And back in
They
2004,
have a
one
really
incident
good way
came
of
at the
covering
expense of Chavo
shit
Guerrero
up
Jr.
sometimes.
During an August 24th SmackDown taping, Kidman leapt from the ropes for the shooting star press, but couldn't keep his body straight and landed with his knee directly impacting the face of his opponent. Chavo was knocked out cold, evidenced by the fact that he couldn't even bend his leg when Kidman hooked him for the pin, and he laid there motionless for several minutes. WWE later announced that Guerrero had suffered a serious concussion, which put him out of action for several months. The Miz. After tumbling out of the ring during his WrestleMania 27 match against John Cena, The Miz was speared twice onto the concrete, and the second one was supposed to kayfabe knock both wrestlers out. The only problem was that The Miz was legitimately rendered unconscious in the process after loudly smacking his head on the floor. Luckily, the story called for The Rock to come out and intervene, giving Miz several minutes to come to, collect himself, and eventually pin Cena to retain the WWE title. Daniel Bryan. During a shoot interview, Alberto Del Rio told a humorous story about a SmackDown match against Daniel Bryan where Bryan was legitimately knocked out for several seconds. At first, Del Rio just thought he stunned his opponent and began walking around to give him a moment. However, it soon became clear that Daniel was dozing. So Del Rio alerted the referee, who said the match needed to continue. After Del Rio shook his opponent several times while keeping him in a hold, Bryan eventually woke up with one question on his mind. Where are we? Enzo Amore. During a match that pitted Enzo Amore and Big Cass against the Vaudevillains at Payback 2016, Enzo was tossed from the ring, but as he slid under the ropes, his face slammed into one, causing his head to snap back and violently impact the mat. Making matters worse, Enzo appeared to hit his head a third time when he fell to the ground outside of the ring. He was legitimately knocked out for a few seconds, as the cameras showed his eyes wide open and motionless, and the referee threw up an emergency signal to end the match. Enzo was taken to the hospital and diagnosed with a concussion, but was thankfully released later the same day. And that's it for our list of wrestlers who got knocked out. Does your head hurt as much as ours does? Let us know if we missed.
Creepy as fuck. Oh my god.
Nope, not me. I would have been knocked out dead.
But to see his eyes like open and nothing, oh, that's creepy as shit.
It's like seeing somebody sleep. That's like, like walking in and somebody sleeping with their eyes open.
Have any of you ever seen that? I don't know. Anyways,
I've watched
that was
my friend do it.
interesting and creepy.
It was creepy. And the nail thing.
That's a whole different story altogether. Mick Foley is one tough fucking son of a bitch. And there ain't no denying it. Like, subscribe, comment, hit that notification bell, and we will see you
Next video!
Yay!